And they got a lot of guys coming back. That's going to be a strong program. We'll get on into all that. But what are your guys' feelings on Steve Alford?
Well, I'm stunned by the Bobby Knight idea when asked, about the administration and all the people at Indiana. He was sort of hoping they were all dead, so I don't know how that would go over for him to go back. But for Alford, Mr. Basketball in Indiana, played there, like you said, as a national champ. His stock is high right now, but Indiana needs to look really closely at what they'd be getting if they take on Steve Alford. He left Iowa, a little bit controversially. There was that Pierce situation, with the rape allegations, not once but twice, and that he, instead of waiting till all the facts came out, was in that kid's corner supporting him, saying he didn't do this. And it was a bad scene, and it was one of the reasons that ultimately he left there. They haven't forgotten it in the Big Ten, and they certainly haven't forgotten it in Indiana. And I read that the players and some of the sports alum would love to have Steve Alford back, but that, underneath it all, people are saying we don't want him. He hasn't been past the Sweet 16 with any of the teams he's coached. He's got a very good record, but it just seems sort of like window dressing.
Well, that team he had with New Mexico, that was, 25-4 or something. They were supposed to, there was talk about them getting to the Final Four, and then they ended up losing to Harvard, which was, I guess, Harvard's first ever, NCAA tourney win. So
a lot of games. Yeah, there was a 30-5 season.
Right.
He was 132-95 at Iowa, and I love the headlines back then. Which I think is a kiss of death when he said, I guess in his article recently, I love my team now here, and I love Los Angeles. And to me, and the article back on, it was March 22nd, 2006, that said Alford says he's staying in Iowa, and then left for New Mexico. So, hey, 31. I guess they're throwing at him, or reports are saying 7 years, $31 million. That could make up the difference of anything that you're looking at, John. I think, bringing up Bobby Knight to be an assistant is almost like saying Ditka might come back with the Bears in some capacity. So, that's almost comical. Like everybody needs a chair to be thrown or something like that.
Just a rumor floating out there.
Yeah. But you mentioned that his stock is really high. He's got a great team. Lonzo Ball's going to be gone.
Right, exactly.
TJ Leaf might bolt.
Stay in basketball and talk about
Sweet
16. Yeah.
Well, let's stick with Alford, because I think that there's a lot going on there. So for instance, in Washington, Lorenzo Romar is out, and they lose a huge recruit. If Alford leaves, do the ball boys stay?
That's exactly right.
So I think Alford has a really good situation where he is. I don't see where he'd leave, though he has always said that he wanted to end up in Indiana. That's what's sort of bubbling under the surface, is that he may want to go. I don't think it's the right time for him. I think he'd be silly to go right now. Could be, UCLA needed one season. Now they're back. One player kind of made the difference for him.
Well, and the prospects of what's to come, you look at that and you think of, I'm sorry, again, Indiana, it's great history, a lot of sentiment, I guess, but you're still not looking at any more storied program right now than UCLA. It's, Duke is, out there, and, if that were something to open up for somebody, I guess you'd say, yeah, that's it. But, when you think of Wooden, Westwood, UCLA, he still has he's still got a good chunk of at least 3 years left on his contract, and that's a good deal. And you think if he goes out and does what he can do with the recruiting class and the Ball brothers, if they decide to come there, that it could be unbelievable.
Now the younger one is what, a high school
sophomore.
So got a couple more years before he'd be coming to UCLA.
Well, I heard he's coming out of high school. No, I'm just kidding. Coming out of high school early to join the college.
The older one, Is he a senior? I'm not sure if he's coming up.
The one that scored
Might be a
92?
junior. No, that was the younger one.
That was the younger one?
That was the younger one that
Yeah,
scored
that
92.
92.
So
Okay, maybe he
might
is
even
coming
be
out
a
of high
fresh-
school
he might
early.
even be a freshman. That one. So, but I think the middle one is still a year away. You know, they reload, but again, you know, if TJ Leaf decides to come out, you know, and Ball is clearly coming out.
Yeah, he's gone.
Who knows? I mean, Alford may think that that's a greener pasture, but I think it'd be tougher for him. You know, somebody I heard today said the Big Ten is deeper. It's deeper, and that's not going to be a slam dunk for him. You know, that they're a couple of players away. He'd be a great recruiter in Indiana, but here, you know, there's a top layer in the Pac-12 of very good talent.
Exactly.
It's not super deep. So we'll see.
Well, you know, the contract could buy him a lot of, you know, good snow tires and chains. So he has that to look forward to, you know, instead of the sunshine and, you know, what California has to offer. So,
And his son's graduating.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
That's right.
another. I get just another idea why that he might decide this is a good time to leave.
Roger Lodge on his show yesterday, I mean, he was saying it's a done deal, you know, regardless of the tight lip, the whole thing. He, for some reason, I don't know, he wouldn't cite, you know, where, but he's
But when has a coach ever admitted, I'm leaving? Yeah, I'm leaving.
Well, it's always when they say they love it somewhere. Like I said, to me, when I saw in the paper that he said he loves L.A. and he's focusing, of course you're going to focus on what you've got going on right now. I mean, you're looking at, you know, you've got Kentucky and, you know, then, you know, from there you want to win an NCAA championship and then, you know, who knows? But
I think the deeper this team goes, the more that the Bruins, you know, the Bruin faithful would want him to stay. But it's only a year since they were asking for his head.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
I just remember Jabbar ripping him, and you know, Ghost from UCLA past coming out and just, you know, I mean, they were all over him, and now, like you said, he's the golden child. So.
And again, some of the big thing was when Howland was there, and even when Alford came in, it wasn't going to be. I mean, Alford wasn't the type of coach who was just going to open things up. I mean, there was always a half court. So even though they said get rid of Howland, and then Alford comes in, and I was thinking it's not going to be as slow down, defensive oriented as Howland, but it's not going to be up and down. But then he got Ball, and you know, all bets were off. It's like, go kid, go.
Exactly. Yeah.
I still say $31 million can't buy sunshine.
No.